Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 91 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. My name is Bill Pivets. So this week we had 3 matches on the show. 2 of them were taped in Full Sail. The third was taped on Saturday in Osaka, Japan. It was the NXT title match between Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura. As you guys probably saw on Twitter or WWE, whatever the case is, we saw the results of that match, but they aired most of the match at the end of the show as the main event. Still pretty good, even though we found out who the winner was, and we actually got a couple of big announcements throughout the show as well, so let's get right into it. One of the ring announcers introduced DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano. They went to the crowd to celebrate. Before they could say anything, though, Authors of Pain came out. They actually didn't bring the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic trophy out with them. I knew they weren't going to do that. They're not fit for that trophy. Paul Ellering said that the prophecy of the Authors of Pain has come true. They're undefeated and won the Tag Team Classic. He called the DIY celebration premature. As he was going on, the Revival interrupted him before he could finish. They said that the Authors of Pain won because of themselves. Authors of Pain, though, slowly walked down to the ring and went face-to-face with the Revival. They then shoved them down, and Revival went to the opposite side of the ring. Ellering said the next chapter will be written by the Authors of Pain, and it will read the NXT Tag Team Champions before they head back to the locker room. Good opening segment. I liked it. The former champs and Authors of Pain both have good claims as to why they deserve a shot at DIY for the tag team titles. My original guess was that it will be the Revival versus Authors of Pain in a rare heel versus heel match, and then the winner would face DIY at the TakeOver, but later in the show, William Regal had a different announcement, which one I liked a little better, but it kind of spoils some things. I liked it a lot. I wish we got a little more interaction between the 3 teams. We didn't hear a word from Gargano and Ciampa, some sort of celebration on how happy they are to win the tag team titles. Having Paul Ellering dominate the conversation, or at least the opening segment for most of it, was an interesting decision to make. Corey Graves said he got the NXT broadcast team a facelift. We then got a promo for Percy Watson, someone we haven't seen on WWE TV since season 2 or 3 of NXT, back when it was a competition, not a weekly show like it is now. Throughout the whole promo, he reminds me of Titus O'Neil, the way that they talk, their mannerisms, but he just has a little more personality. And then right after the promo, he was sitting next to Graves and Phillips at the announce table. First match, No Way Jose and Rich Swann versus Sanity. There was no Sawyer Fulton. They actually dropped his jacket on the ramp, so it was Alexander Wolf and Eric Young in this match. Swann hit Wolf with a assisted Hurricanrana. Wolf then caught him, and Sanity took control on the inside and outside of the ring. Swann fought back, and he and Wolf landed simultaneous clotheslines. No Way Jose got the hot tag, taking out both of his opponents. I believe he hit Young with a TKO, but got a near fall. Swann landed a corkscrew splash to Wolf on the outside. No Way Jose ended up on the outside as well at this point. And some guy that they later revealed to be Damo shoved Jose into the ring post, and Eric Young won with his wheelbarrow neckbreaker to get the win. Fulton's jacket was still on the ramp. Damo picked it up, and then he immediately dropped it and walked away. Despite all that, it was kind of a boring match. Sanity, they're not over the crowd. They didn't mesh well with Jose and Swann. The only thing that kept the crowd interested and me interested was seeing Swann and Jose in the ring. This Damo guy, he's a big guy. Not to quote the pilot up for Bane or whatever. You're a big guy. I don't know if Sanity's already too far down the river to be saved, but introducing Damo into the mix could give a little life into Sanity. After that, William Regal was in his office saying that the Revival will get their tag team title rematch on the January 11th edition of NXT, and the winner of that match will take on the Authors of Pain at TakeOver San Antonio. I believe it's the day before the Royal Rumble. So like I said, not what I was expecting for the results, because I don't think the Revival is going to win this match, because you're not going to do heel versus heel for a title match at TakeOver. So it's going to be DIY versus Authors of Pain at the next TakeOver special. Regardless, both matches should be good. Authors of Pain have improved greatly, and we've seen the magic that DIY and the Revival can do. So it should make for a good episode of NXT that week. Ty Dillinger then interrupted, saying that he claimed that if he couldn't beat Samoa Joe, that he doesn't belong in NXT, and he did lose. Samoa Joe. William Regal interrupted him, saying that there's going to be a tournament to determine the next number 1 contender for the NXT title, and there'll be 4 singles matches. The winner of those will face in a 4-way elimination match, and the winner of that will get an NXT Championship match. William Regal then offered Ty Dillinger a spot. He accepted, and William Regal went back and asked Ty Dillinger what he was going to say. he uncoincidentally forgot and walked out. William Regal then pulled out some brass knucks and put them on just for shits and gigs. The power of the punch. William Regal's a great heel back in the early 2000s. Some random reporter tried getting information from Alexander Wolf or Eric Young about what just happened. Nikki Cross stopped on the way and saw the women's championship just sitting on top of like a recycle bin. She stared at it for a little bit. Asuka then walked behind her and grabbed it. Those two had a little bit of a stare down before Nikki walked away. So after all of that, we finally got our second match of Ember Moon versus Kimber Lee. She's actually pretty good on the indie scene, but this match didn't translate well to that. Also, if you haven't seen Ember Moon on Xavier Woods' YouTube show, Up, Up, Down, Down, she and him play the Tiny Toon Adventures, I think it's the SNES game, and she seems pretty cool. She's in the comics, Dungeons and Dragons, all that kind of stuff, so she seems like a cool person outside of the ring. Ember landed some kicks to the midsection and to the face. Lee caught her with a nice side slam, and match slowed down a little bit. They were rolling around, submissions, that kind of thing. Ember Moon countered a powerbomb into her Karana. After a springboard forearm in the corner, she then hit the Eclipse to get the win. Match started out strong for the most part. Broke down a little bit after the powerbomb reversal. They clicked in certain spots, but it really wasn't as smooth of a match as it could be. Ember Moon, I think, is being groomed with all these wins. Again, she's also undefeated. That I think, not at the San Antonio special, I think it's too early, but at the one the night before WrestleMania, at March or April, whenever that is, I think we'll see Ember Moon versus Asuka. Ember Moon could win, and Asuka makes her debut on the main roster. I think that's how it's going to go. Granted, it's a long shot. They could do something in between. Speaking of the women's division, I read that Mickie James has signed a new deal with WWE and will be appearing most likely on the SmackDown brand. So she had a good showing at TakeOver Toronto, so she's getting rewarded for it. So congrats to her. We then got the promo for the 4 singles matches to determine the number 1 contenders. It's going to be Todd Dillinger versus Eric Young, Elias Sampson versus Roderick Strong, Only Lorcan versus Bobby Roode, and Andrade Cien Almas versus No Way Jose. I think Roode and Strong are locks to win their matches. You're not going to put Lorcan or Sampson in that kind of match. I want Dillinger to win just because of his rivalry with Bobby Roode. And if that's the case, then I think Almas gets in. But I think with the push that Sanity has been getting, Eric Young gets the win. So we're going to see Bobby Roode and Eric Young in the ring at the same time in NXT. And if that happens, then No Way Jose gets the win over Almas. So it could be either Dillinger, Strong, Roode, Almas, or we're going to go Young, Strong, Roode, Jose. So either way, should be a great 4-man match once we get down to the elimination, and I think it'll be Roode who gets the win and is going to face the NXT champion, I believe. William Regal said it's going to happen at TakeOver. I'm not too sure, but whenever it happens, Roode versus the NXT champion, it's definitely going to happen soon. And speaking of the NXT Championship, we got to our main event, Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura in Osaka, Japan, that aired last Saturday. Joe wanted to get at him right before the introductions even started. As Nakamura was getting introduced, they threw red streamers into the ring. The match began with like a UFC-ish kind of, they were throwing some strikes, feint kicks, kind of testing each other out. Nakamura landed good vibrations in the corner twice. Joe went to the outside, took a little break, and he raked the eyes on Nakamura, get the advantage as they went to the first commercial break. They went back from break, and I'm assuming they fast-forwarded this match a little bit because I don't think this is how it went. I think they cut out a little bit. Joe had Nakamura in an STF, and then he transitioned into a crossface. Nakamura reversed out of it. He tried an armbar, and then he tried a triangle choke, but Joe wasn't letting him have it. Nakamura then landed a nice released German suplex. He went for a Kinshasa early, but Joe countered it into a snap power slam. Nakamura later escaped the muscle buster and went for a Kinshasa a second time, but Joe ducked. Joe then went for the coquina clutch, but he went for 2 German suplexes and a nice T-bone suplex instead for a good near fall. Joe sent Nakamura to the outside with his top rope enziguri. He then went for the Uranagi on the steps again, but Nakamura was able to block it. He landed a knee to the back of the head. At this point, both men were very sluggish. They were just moving very slow. I don't know if because of the match they cut out a lot of it, or it was just this match was very tiring or jet lag, whatever the case was. But they were just moving a little slower. It wasn't as fast paced as the Brooklyn or Toronto matches. Nakamura had Joe on his shoulders at this point, but fell backwards. I'm not too sure if that was planned or not. I don't know if it's just he was tired and Joe's weight kind of pulled him down. but Joe fell to the outside. He went to the top, and Nakamura went to the top at this point. He landed another knee to the back of the head and won with a Kinshasa and became the second two-time NXT champion. Decent match at best, to be honest, which is unfortunate between these two. We've seen what Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura can do, like I said, at TakeOver and at Brooklyn and Toronto. But this match, it was just a little slower, especially the beginning, just that feeling each other out process. It kind of took me out of it, and knowing the results that Nakamura won the NXT title kind of just took away some of the drama into the match. The crowd was into it. They were behind Nakamura 100%. They shouted him with streamers, and they chanted his name afterwards. But I've seen better from these two, and I hope that we don't see anything on NXT between these two while they're still under contract. I know they had a cage match in Melbourne, Australia not too long after, but as far as NXT, the storyline needs to be done, and Nakamura needs to be focusing on his next feud, and I think Samoa Joe is going to the main roster. He dropped the title. Quick little win. They put the title back on Nakamura in Japan, and Samoa Joe is going to be main roster bound, whether it's the Royal Rumble or appearing the night after. That's definitely where he's going. I do like the tag team setup, though, for what they work with. They don't have much of a tag team division. It's the 3 teams that appeared in the opening segment and TM6-1. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I think the announcement that Authors of Pain will face the winner kind of spoils the DIY Revival match. I do like that they're teasing Asuka and Nikki Cross. That could definitely be some interesting dynamic in that match. The singles matches should lead to a great 4-way. And I don't think Percy Watson contributed a damn thing on this show. I barely heard him on commentary. I know Corey Graves is on Raw, and I think he's doing the 205 Live show. And Tom Phillips is now on SmackDown. So they're going to introduce some new commentators. But Percy Watson, I barely heard him. Like, I couldn't tell when he was contributing or not. So that's a little bit of disappointment, because they could definitely use some life on that NXT commentary. But Percy Watson, he's just invisible. Next week, they really didn't advertise anything, unfortunately. So I'm going into the show blind, just like the rest of you. Thanks for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter at bpiv_sports. Like, comment, subscribe to the show on YouTube. Do all that fun stuff. I'll be back next week. Peace.